Oh my God. Marcus, look at that butt. It is just so big. It looks like it came from Kermit's girlfriend. But who understands that green guy? We only waltzed in here because we want an effing barbecue, okay? I mean, that butt is just so big. Butts come in a variety of shapes and sizes. I like big butts, no lie. They usually weigh between 8 and 10 pounds. But this big old butt right here is 13 pounds. One of the biggest butts I've ever gotten my hands on. As you can see, it's a bit slippery and difficult to handle. You want to choose a pork butt with a smooth, firm fat cap and a good amount of marbling within the meat itself. The butt should be pink and red in color, and if it looks gray and wrinkly, just bypass it. That means it's been on the shelf for a while. There are two kinds of butts, bone-in and boneless. Bone-in could be a Boston butt, like the one we have here, or a picnic. Picnic has a much larger bone that runs all the way through like a ham. My preference is having the bone in the butt. Why? Well, it's fun to remove the bone from a properly roasted butt, since it usually pulls out clean with no meat attached, which is a good indicator of how well it's been cooked. Boneless butts? Well, those you have to tie up, and that's just a lot of unnecessary work. I also prefer a trimmed butt, for two reasons. When we rub it down, we can really penetrate into the muscles. With a fattier butt, it takes more energy to break down everything and ensure that the butt is nice and moist when we pull it. Efficiency is the name of the game, folks. So how do you get a well-trimmed butt? Well, the trick is to remove as much moisture from the outside as you can before we run a sharp knife through it. This will prevent accidents and lessens the chances of you getting cut. So pat the butt with a couple of paper towels and grab a sharp knife and get to work. Now your butt will lose some weight when it's trimmed. It's important to note the final weight so we can estimate the proper time it will take to reach its internal temperature of 200 degrees. We trimmed this one down from 13 pounds and it now weighs 11 pounds. And now it's time to rub and inject some love. What you rub your meat with really says a lot about who you are as a person. I prefer to balance sweet and spicy when I make my rubs. Life is all about balance, but variety is the spice of life. Now, you can get a rub from out in town, but personally, I like the satisfaction of knowing I did my rub myself. I make my rubs by hand for quality control purposes, and I can tailor to my specific needs and desires that day. The following rub comes from my favorite meat book, not Men's Health, but Smoke and Spice. However, I'm putting a southern twist on this and adding some ground Georgia peach powder. This will give our rub a personality of its own. In my opinion, Georgia peaches are the best in the United States, and therefore the powder will be the best. That's science. Georgia peaches are usually sweeter, have more flavor, and are juicier than peaches from California or South Carolina. I can't think of a single time that I've eaten one and didn't have their sweet nectar running down my face. Thank God they're seasonal and they never stick around long because they are addicting. So combine the following in a bowl and mix it together. Black pepper, paprika, turbinado sugar, ground Georgia peach powder, salt, mustard powder, and cayenne pepper. While I'm not a true licensed professional, I have rubbed several butts in my day. I found that it's best to get in there with slow strokes, deep finger pressure on the contracted areas. Don't be scared to show your butt some love. It's only gonna last a little while. Why inject? It's really simple. You want your meat to be tender and plump. Think of it like a Botox injection. I prefer to rub my meat before injecting it. The physical massage helps break down some of the tougher parts of the meat. So always rub your meat before you inject it. This goes for all types of meat, not just butts. Today, we're using White Grape Peach juice. Make sure you hit all the muscles. You'll see the butt swell as the injection works its magic. Now, we're gonna put it back in the fridge, make some phone calls, pour some drinks, and prepare the smoker. It's important to select the right wood to smoke on, as the wrong type of wood will produce either too light or too heavy of a smoke flavor for the meat. For pork, we'll use a combination of apple, cherry, and pecan. Heavier woods, such as mesquite, are best for beef. Load up the charcoal, bury a few chunks of each wood, add some more charcoal, then more chunks, more charcoal, and then finally a couple more chunks of each. This should be enough fuel to keep the fire burning through the night. This of course depends on weather and how much meat we're dealing with, amongst other things that we really can't control. However, if you like to be in control like I do, use a temperature regulator. I use a BBQ Guru Cider cube. Light half a chimney of charcoal, pour it on top, and now it's time to get lit. If you ask my friends, they'll tell you I'm shy, mild-mannered, don't ruffle feathers, and I tend to just go with the flow of things. You know, try to fly under the radar.
Bullshit.
But for whatever reason, there are times where my peachy attitude towards life gets thrown out the window, and I just get downright saucy. Bold, daring, sweet, spicy, and a bit on the wild side. As a tribute to that Joe, I'm gonna make It's Better to Beg for Forgiveness sauce. So, we're gonna add ketchup. Chili sauce, honey, light brown sugar, peach preserves, mustard, apple cider vinegar, water, the barbecue rub that we made earlier, Worcestershire sauce, minced garlic, and minced yellow onion. Combine everything, and then we're going to put it on a smoker for at least 2 hours. And don't worry about the viscosity of the sauce. We'll bust out our immersion blender and everything will flow smoothly. Now the smoker's stable at 225, so it's time to put our meat on the smoker and let it do God's work. Well, it's been about 14 hours. Let's check out our butt. Woo! That's a pretty piece of meat. So you can see the bark starting to form, which is nice. When we use as a thermopen, kind of take a couple temperature readings, see kind of where we're at. Now a pork butt temperature will stall out at between 170 and 180 degrees because that's when the internal fat starts to melt and makes everything nice and juicy. So we're sitting about $1.80 throughout the butt. So we got our mop that we made, and we're just gonna paint happy little butts. It's also a good idea to check to make sure you still have water in your water pan, and if you need to, add more. And I told you guys earlier, you can see the bone starting to poke out. Remember, that's an indication of how it's done. And let us not forget the sauce that we made. So it's that time. We'll put it on the smoker. And we'll let everything go for about another hour. She's ready to pull. Well, after 18 hours, we've met our temperature goal, and it's time to grab the butt off the smoker. As you can see, she's done. Now we're not ready to eat this yet, so we're gonna wrap the butt in several layers of heavy-duty foil, wrap in old towels, and put into a cooler. This will allow the meat to rest and will stay warm for several hours. Now would be a great time to go grab the sauce off the smoker, use your immersion blender, and then put it in the fridge to cool before it's time to eat. All right, folks, this is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. So after an 11-pound final weight, we have 5.5 pounds of meat left. So it's real simple. We're gonna make ourselves a pulled pork sandwich. How is it? It's good? Yes.
It's actually hard chewing the gum because it's just getting all this goo in my mouth.
Yeah, goo in your mouth, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. Oh my,
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
I'll give you one of these.
Woo, yeah, good guy. America and shit.